We have a guest in the Abuja studio. That's Barrister Esther Uzoma. She is a legal practitioner and rights activist. She's also the national coordinator of Proactive Gender Initiative, and she's been monitoring the elections one way or the other. Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, so you've been an active part of the 2019 general elections. We've conducted the elections. Collations are happening all across the 36 states of the Federation, and including Abuja. Where are we?
Thank you very much. Where we are right now is we are the process. In some states, announcements are being made, and then in other states, collation is still ongoing. And for the presidential, INEC gave us 11 a.m. Today, so that they will, because right now they are receiving results from the states. That's on one hand. And on the other hand, we, are estraying the situation. What happened? Why did we get, to a staggered beginning? Why was the start very clumsy? That's the question that we as civil society is asking right now. What happened? What went wrong? Why? What role did all the other actors who are involved in the electoral process, what specific role did they play? How did they help the process? How did they not help the process? These are questions we are straying right now and searching for answers so that we can improve, on the system. And as we are asking those questions, a lot of things are becoming apparent. For instance, since 1999, and how many budgets have we had since then? A lot of things, are still not as they should be. But once it comes to election, it does appear, that we expect a paradise, a functional system once we come to elections. We're also seeing, that's the enthusiasm of Nigerians to actually participate in this, process. It goes to show that there's faith, there's renewed faith in the institution, that conducts elections. The enthusiasm, we have never, seen it before. We are expecting at the end of the day that the numbers of people who participated will eventually validate this position. So across board, those other issues of why did this not work, what part the security agencies play, what can we do going forward, how do we make the system better? These are questions that we are considering while we wait, for results to be released.
Uzoma, you pointed out that, yes, indeed, we're now asking questions, as to how the elections started, how staggered things were at some point for this elections. But you ask yourself, 4 years ago and in other past elections, I'm sure we would have had these sort of conversations, before, during, and after. But it appears the cycle is continuing again, even this year. Are we really learning lessons from past experiences? What's the guarantee that we won't be doing the same talk again in 4 years' time?
Yes, we're learning lessons. And part of the lessons, that is dawning on us is the dynamism of human behavior. Dynamism of human behavior. The constant attempt of the human being, particularly in this context, the Nigerian society, the Nigerian system, their attitude to just generally beat the system. What would have propelled a human being in broad daylight, for instance? It's no longer ballot snatching, it's now ballot burning. Ballot burning. You see, what, for instance, will propel, what provokes a human being to, in broad daylight, make army uniforms, make uniforms of police, make uniforms of army, and generally harass the civil society, the civil population. This is where we are going now. You know, even though lessons have been learned from the past, you know, that's where I would say steps we are taking to ensure that it works. But then, have you seen how innovative, you know, the political class is? How they continually intend to beat the system, how they continually defecate in our common pool. We have Nigerian police, we have security agencies that are, you know, financed by the state, and on the one hand, across the states, we are seeing state governors who equip their own military, equip their own, in quotes, you know, security. And these there is this side by side with the state security agent. What do they do? So most times you see them running a parallel, you know, at cross purposes.
Those
where
are still unconfirmed.
So it does appear that we take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
Barrister Uzoma, I want to ask you, I want us to stay within the confines of things that we can confirm and things that have information that have been provided by the right agencies. For instance, the results that we have seen so far. We've not seen much of women participation, for instance, amongst the presidential candidates. For instance, I'm not sure we have up to 10% of women participating in presidential elections, for instance. You belong to a gender-sensitive or gender-focused initiative. What's the conversation concerning seeing more women vie for the position of presidency?
Well, first of all, the conditions, you know, they are not much better. Women participate in politics, you know, when certain things are guaranteed. Insecurity, the heightened insecurity may have influenced, you know, their non-participation. This is a question that will further be researched so that we can come out with exactitudes. However, we saw some people, you know, for instance, in Kogi, you know, some females who were participating, we saw how terror was unleashed on them. Her youth leader was burnt, was killed. You know, her campaign office was burnt. And so we are seeing, because of there's an environment in which these things function. Women do not participate in isolation. And because women have not joined thuggery full-fledged, because women have not, you know, started doing do me, I do you, they still want to play by the books. That is why we are seeing dwindling numbers of women, you know, coming out to contest for the presidential or indeed, you know, any other elective post. But moving forward, I think it's time to re-strategize and be involved in this political process.